All right, I'm super excited for this video just because Anthony Schwartz did so many of the things that we talk about that is super important in being able to run a fast 40, obviously by him being able to run a 4.26, but it's great to be able to see and recognize, bring light to some of the things that I think are critical for you guys to be able to understand and being able to maximize your own 40. So this is very much of a technical thing in being able to run a fast 40. Yeah, you obviously need to be able to have great natural speed, but if you don't understand some of the technical parts of it, you could have great natural speed but still run an average 40 time, or somebody that could have, not a huge advantage from a speed perspective could still end up getting themselves into a high level 40 time just by being able to understand the technical part of being able to run this race. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look to see when his hand comes off the ground. 1.76, we see that a lot of the actual laser times are based off of when the hand comes off the ground, and so it's an important thing to be able to recognize and being able to understand, how to get. Notice how he drops his front knee a good amount. He tries to keep that hand down on the ground for as long as he can as he's getting ready. So we say 1.76 is when that hand comes off the ground. Does a great job driving that foot through. And what I think is amazing about his run here is even in his second step here, boom, that step's hitting down at about 2.30. He's already off at 2.43, right? So second step, he's already at a 0.13 foot contact time. That's a great place to be at. By his third step, which is hitting down at 2.53, and back off at 2.63, he's already at a 0.1 contact time in 3 steps. A lot of times I talk about being able to get to that 0.1 in maybe like the 5th step, right? And being able, so I've seen guys run sub 4 or 5 that don't get to 0.1 until the 5th step, right? So that really just shows from a power production standpoint and body control standpoint how elite Anthony Schwartz is in his ability to really generate a lot of force quickly. His acceleration, just watching this run, it just looked beautiful from the second that you kind of watch it. Everything just looks so right with it. And then you can see how he does a really good job in that start phase, keeping that spine nice and long. He is spending obviously a lot more time in his backside mechanics, but he's also really quickly getting his leg out in front and landing with all of his weight more on the balls of his feet. He's working very horizontally here, not too much vertically, really maximizing the turnover. And so this ends up being that 7th step here, right? And I said that he got to the 7th step at about 3.33, so we got 1.76 is when the hand came off the ground, and he crosses that 10-yard mark at 3.33, which is a 1.57 10-yard dash, right? And you can maybe say that it's right there, which would still be 1.61. And remember, we just say that we need to be under 1.7 for that first 10 yards, right? So obviously him being in the 1.5s or low 1.6s, he's doing a great job to set him up into, getting sub 4.5. So now we get to 12 here. And I said he passed 12 at about 4.33, right? So that's great to be able to get that 10 yards in 1 second, right? Being able to go from 10 yards to 20 yards in 1 second is a great goal to be able to achieve, right? Now he gets into that 20 yards, and you can see how he's still in that drive phase, right? As he's going through that 10 and getting into his 20s, he's right about there. He's separating from his drive phase and getting more into that top end speed. But it's really important to be able to understand how to utilize that drive phase to be able to continue to build speed. I see this mistake with people that will really try to get into more of a top end speed positioning in their posture really early on in the race within that first 5 to 10 yards, and that really messes you up in being able to get to a nice top end speed. You want to be continuing to build here as you're going through that 10 to 20 yard mark, and then when you're getting to that 20 yard mark, now you're ready to really start taking off. And that's what's great about Anthony Schwartz. He's not one of those guys like we see with a lot of track guys that gets a lot of front side extension. Here he's actually pretty quick with his front side mechanics, but we could see when his foot hits the ground and as he's coming off, right? So first, when his foot hits the ground, he's about 9.0, and he's off by that 5, so he's probably at about 0.08 foot contact time. Somewhere in there is going to be the foot contact time. But I think is more impressive is, so let's say he's at 4.98 when he leaves, then, and he touches back down at 4.27, or 4.28, right? So that essentially that turnover time is a 0.3 turnover time. So that's why it looks like that's why he is moving very fast, but it also looks like he's moving so fast is that transition time, the time spent off the ground, is very fast, 0.3, right? So that's why he doesn't get as much of those front side mechanics, as much of that extension, right? We see like with Usain Bolt, a lot of those top level sprinters. Matthew Bowling's another guy that's like that. Michael Norman's another guy like that. We see a lot of guys that get that really elite front side mechanics, but that's going to make it so now their time spent off the ground is going to be closer to like 0.35, 0.34. That's how a lot of those guys are. Still really fast with their full contact time. They're just picking up a lot more ground. So Anthony Schwartz is somebody who's going to be picking up as much ground per step, right? But he's moving at 0.3 with his foot off the ground. So his legs are just cycling so quickly. That's a little bit better for football turnover because now he's going to be able to cut a little bit better. It's going to help him in being able to move better side to side. So this is actually something that will end up helping him in being able to transition from, college into the NFL. So I'm super excited. He's already talking about how he's going to be, he's definitely the fastest guy in this class and wants to be the fastest guy in football in general. So I'm super curious to see how he's able to transfer from college into the NFL. I don't know, at least in my opinion, I feel like Auburn could have utilized him better. He's somebody that's from California, so I've definitely been following for a little bit. I know I've done a breakdown on him as well before in the past, but being able to see him run a 4.26 is amazing, awesome. I'm super excited to watch him play in the NFL.